Getting ready for Farm Science Review with Brodbeck Seeds here right across the street from the Molly Caron Ag Center in London. Ty Higgins with the Ohio AgNet visiting with Denny Wickham of Brodbeck Seeds. And Denny, you know, we have a plot here with a lot of different hybrids, a lot of different choices farmers can make from Brodbeck Seeds. But when it came to 2016, hybrids made a difference, but there were a lot of environmental impacts this year as well.
Well, that's right, Ty. So in this field right here, we probably have at least 3 major soil types. And you can pretty well go through the field and take notes and say, okay, what happens when you leave, say, a Brookston into a Salina Crosby soil type, and see what happened with plant height, emergence, ear set, certainly. So that variation alone. And then here in this part of the state, we had good moisture early, but during the pollination phase and early grain fill phase, we got fairly dry. In fact, the July rainfall was somewhere between 2 to 3 inches, and a lot of that was scattered at the tail end of July. So there could have been enough stress here to cause these plants to loosen the yield potential after pollination, either through poor kernel set or maybe some stress afterwards, reducing grain fill.
We'll get to the ear issues in a bit. Tell me about some of the stalk issues you're seeing so far out here.
Well, one of the concerns we have when plants are grown under as much stress as these have been under, what you find is that the root system is not as effective at getting water and nutrients, and you have a plant that's stressed. And so that plant's primary goal after pollination, and you can see one that here that really had some issues, that plant's goal after pollination is to fill that ear. Now here's an ear that also has diplodia ear rot, one of the issues we're finding. So in my work today at a plot like this, what I would be looking at is the ear count, how many ears per thousandth of an acre. I'd be looking at stay green. I'd be looking for things like stalk rots and ear moles to determine if there are differences genetically. And then also take this same information, go to another location and compare those notes just to see what the distance between the two plots looks like, how the soil types and how the environment changed.
As farmers visit you this week at Farm Science Review, they're going to be asking you what you might have learned from 2016 that might help them out in 2017. What's your answer to that?
Well, we learn something every year, Ty, as you well understand. And I think the main thing with looking at one year to the next is thinking about rainfall and what happens there, but we can't control that. What we can control are things like our hybrid selection, our soybean variety selection. We can look more specifically at what the fields are telling us, especially through harvest. What I like to have guys do is think about harvest notes. If you're going through a soybean field and you see a spot that really matured early, make a note of that and try to determine maybe if it was disease or drainage or something that could be controlled. The other issue would be maybe variety selection for that field. If you find bigger spots that didn't perform well, maybe it was Phytophthora root rot and you needed to look at either seed treatments or different genetic backgrounds to control that. So that's what I try to think about this time of the year. Not only do we want to get in the combine and make the harvest move along, we want to make sure we learn something from harvest, especially if we're mapping, so we can go back and say, well, I took a note on that and it looked like this. It was shorter, it was more stunted, and maybe there was something going on that we could follow along and try to figure out for a resolution for the next season.
Denny Wickham with Brodbeck Seeds. You can visit with Denny and the folks at Brodbeck this week at the Molly Caron Ag Center in London at Farm Science Review. For the Ohio AgNet, I'm Ty Higgins.